Well, news for the new HBO Harry Potter TV series just keeps coming and coming. So in this video, I'm going to go over each actor and actress, and I did a lot of research to find out what they're known for, what they've done in their career so far, and so on. Then I'll also give my thoughts on what I think of each casting. If you enjoy this video, please consider liking and sharing. It will greatly help to grow and sustain the channel. And if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button, and you can also follow me on all of my other social medias, all of which are linked down below, and all of which house similar content that I make here on this channel. Now that I've said that, let's get into it. So these are the 9 new castings, and we'll start with Catherine Parkinson, who was cast as Molly Weasley. So she is 47 years old, which seems like a good age, might be a little bit too old, but you have to remember that Arthur and Molly are older than the majority of the people in the story, or the majority of the adults in the story. She's got good range as an actor. She did The It Crowd, which was a comedy show all the way back in 2006.
You look like a magician, Michael. All right, I'm sorry, but you do. I didn't notice it at first, but then someone mentioned it and now I can't get it out of my head. It's driving me mad.
And that was one of the big things that really made her career take off. Then she was also in a show called Humans, which was a more serious part.
Oh, I don't trust it, okay? You brought it into the house and we don't know anything about it.
And the same goes for her part in Rivals, which is actually her most recent work, and it is another drama show.
Few women around here who hasn't been ravished by Rupert.
Is your husband fiercely protective?
Mm-hmm.
So looking at her actual appearance, she has the red hair, so thank God. I was so nervous that they would just completely do away with the Weasley's red hair, but I'm glad to see that they didn't. As I said, she's 47 years old, but honestly, she looks a lot younger, at least in this picture, which I actually think is a good thing because, as I said, I think 47 is a little bit old for Molly, but she can pull off a younger age. Moving on to the next casting, we have Locks Pratt. And let me say that Locks is just the most Malfoy name you can think of. He really only has one credit, which was in an episode of Lord of the Flies, which we don't know too much about, so he's a pretty unknown actor. Looking at him, he looks like Draco Malfoy, which is amazing. He has the blonde hair, and I'm pretty happy with this casting looks-wise. Obviously, we don't know too much about him, we haven't heard his voice, we haven't seen his acting, but from what we know so far, it looks good. Next, we have Draco's father, Lucius Malfoy, played by Johnny Flynn. So he's 42 years old, which again I think is close to the age he should be. He is most known for the film Stardust, where he was the lead playing David Bowie. And unfortunately, this movie was absolutely trashed by both fans and critics.
Hello.
Name?
David Bowie.
I saw it, and honestly, I think he was pretty good in it, but I do think that the film wasn't great, although a lot of people do say that it's his fault, but in my opinion, I think he was okay. He's also done some things on stage. He was in Hangman and was in that show for 2015 to 2018.
Never been out with a boy before.
Well, it's not going out, is it? I was just going to take you to a mental home. It's hardly tea at the Ritz.
And he was also in the stage play The Motive and the Cue.
Miraculous org! Let the thoughts come to you, let them come. The thoughts are bloody coming to me!
And then there's one thing that he was in that really fell under the radar, and that is Beast. Many people say that this is his best work as he played a suspected serial killer.
You're wounded. I can fix that.
I want you to tell me that you didn't do it.
How can you ask me that?
So looking at his career, it seems as though he plays a lot of complex and morally gray roles, which we see in Beast, where again, he played a suspected serial killer, as well as his role in the stage play Hangman, where his character toys with people in a psychological way. So taking that into account, that adds up to Lucius Malfoy. Looking at his actual appearance, he does have the blonde hair, and he also has the same eyes of the person playing his son, Locks Pratt. So it's interesting that Lucius was cast this early, because obviously he is not in book 1, which is what season 1 is focusing on. So it seems as though they are going to expand his character and give him a cameo that was not written by Rowling in the novel. The most likely way that they will bring him into the story is when Draco was in Diagon Alley getting his robes. We know that Lucius and Narcissa were both off shopping for other supplies for Draco. So he was in Diagon Alley when Harry was in Diagon Alley. That is how I think he will be incorporated. Next, we have Leo Early playing Seamus Finnigan. So he actually is from Ireland, just like his character, and is fluent in Irish. Other than that, all we know is that he did some acting in school, and there's really nothing else about his career so far. This is going to be pretty much the first thing he does. Looking at his appearance, he looks really young. Like, if you compare him to the trio that got cast, and even Draco, like, he looks like a baby. But overall, he does look pretty Irish, which matches Seamus Finnigan's character perfectly. The only thing about this casting is that Seamus doesn't have blonde or sandy hair like he did in the book. I was kind of hoping that they would do what the films didn't do, but I guess they could dye his hair blonde, we'll see. After that, we have Alessia Leone, and I hope I pronounced that right. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. So this is going to be our first on-screen debut, and that's pretty much all we know about her. So one thing that I kind of don't like about this casting is that she doesn't have a twin. In the books, it's the Patil twins. They are identical twins, and one is actually in Gryffindor and one is in Ravenclaw, unlike in the movies where they were both in Gryffindor. And speaking of the movies, the two actresses that played Padma and Parvati were not twins. So I was kind of hoping that they would get identical twins for this show, but with this casting, it doesn't look like they are going to do that. Unless she has a twin that we don't know about, but I did a lot of research online and I couldn't find any indication that she does have an identical twin sister. Also, just an add-on, I completely forgot to talk about her race and her skin color. I just have to say that I'm happy with the direction they went and that it's accurate to the novel. After that, we have Sienna Musa as Lavender Brown. So like the other child actors, she doesn't have any other credits. This is her first on-screen debut. And this was a casting that I think intrigued me a lot because the movies did race swap Lavender in the middle of the series. She was played by a black actress, actually multiple black actresses throughout the early films, but then as soon as she had a larger role in The Half-Blood Prince, they cast someone new who was white. So looking at her, like Seamus, she looks really, really young. And I'm not sure if these headshots were just taken a while ago, but yeah, looking at her, there's not really much to compare it to because in the books, Lavender does not have a physical description. They could have cast anyone in this role. It didn't matter what color hair they had, what color their skin was. So not much to say, just she looks really young and I'm excited for her to get her on-screen debut. After that, we have Belle Powley as Petunia Dursley. So she is 33 years old, which I think is accurate to the age that Petunia was meant to be in the books. Lily, of course, died when she was 21, and then the series takes place 10 years after that. So if Petunia is 2 years older than Lily, it makes perfect sense that she would be 33. So Powley actually has a lot more credits than a lot of the other adult actors that we're going over in this video. She was the lead in Diary of a Teenage Girl, which she did back in 2015.
Mom doesn't have a job anymore. She's looking for another one. We kind of don't have any money.
And she was also in Carrie Pibley from 2016.
I'm not really in the right frame of mind to make flirty chit-chat with a total stranger.
I just want to know if I can borrow this chair.
Oh. Definitely.
Then her most recent project was Turn Me On, which she had a very big role in.
I didn't take my vitamin today.
Are you content?
No.
As I was looking at her acting career, it seems as though so far she's done a lot of young adult roles. So playing Petunia might be a little bit of a change of pace, but in her more recent roles, she actually has been doing characters that are a little bit more serious. So looking at her picture, she's beautiful in this, which might not match Petunia all the way, who has a long neck and is bony. But she looks a little different when you see her on screen. But even then, I still feel like she doesn't really look like Petunia. She might be a little bit too pretty. And that's a good segue into who is playing Vernon Dursley, which is Daniel Rigby. So I posted about the cast on Twitter, just like announcing it. And the top 2 comments just cracked me up. Said, LOL, they made Vernon Dursley into Daddy Dursley. And one person said, why is Vernon hot? So yeah, that's a big thing right now, that he looks pretty attractive for Vernon Dursley, who's meant to be very fat and kind of porky and is described as anything but good looking. I'm curious if they're going to put him into a fat suit to make him bigger and larger and fatter. Sort of like they did with Dudley in the Deathly Hallows Part 1, which was a big reason why they actually cut his scene in Deathly Hallows Part 1, where Harry and Dudley have that moment. It was because the fat suit looked really bad. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with him. But looking at his career, well, first off, he is 42 years old, which is 9 years older than Petunia, which I think is alright. I think Vernon very easily could have been a good deal older than Petunia. One of his biggest credits was Eric and Ernie, which won him a BAFTA TV award for Best Actor in this role.
Do you like time wasters, John?
Not really.
Good. Will you do me the honour of marrying me?
I don't know you.
Well, that's probably for the best.
I'm excited to see what he does with Vernon Dursley, and I'm very curious to see what they do with his looks. And finally, we have Bertie Carvel as Cornelius Fudge. So like the Lucius casting, Cornelius Fudge is another character that was not in the first book. He doesn't show up until book 2. So again, it looks like we are going to get a cameo that will be a new piece of writing for the series. Looking at his actual career though, his most recent credit was in Dalglish, a show that he was 100% the star of.
Take my treasure and my blood, the part of me that's yours, and watch me go.
But Carvel is much more known for his stage credits, which he's done a number of. But yeah, looking at him, I think he looks pretty good for Fudge. He's 47 years old, which I think is a good age for the character. I just hope that they give him his green bowler hat in this series. That was one thing that I always missed in the movies. So that is the 9 new castings for the Harry Potter TV series. I feel like Vernon and Petunia are a little bit too attractive, but I'm sure that they can do whatever they need to do with them. As for the child actors, for the Gryffindor characters, I think that they look good. They've obviously beaten out a lot of other actors and actresses to get these roles. Again, the one thing I'm disappointed about is the fact that Parvati Patil will not have an identical twin in the series, but I'll get over it. Again, Locke already has a name that is so Malfoy coded. And like the other child actors, we don't know much about him, but I'm excited to see what he does. And Mrs. Weasley, I'm happy with this casting. I think she does look like a good Molly Weasley, and I think it is good that they made her younger, which is what I've been saying. One of the best ways to make sure that this new cast isn't compared to the old cast, at least as little as possible, is to make them go from older actors and actresses from the movies to younger actors and actresses for the show. And this is good because it's also more book accurate. But let me know in the comments below what you think of these castings, especially after I kind of went through their acting careers. That's all I have for you guys today though. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.